Welcome to the Good Keyboard Friends podcast. Look who we have today, ladies and gentlemen. So, because I get very lonely when I have to be by myself. I need someone to hold my hand and things like that. Obviously, you can't have a podcast just solo. I mean, if you do, maybe there's something wrong with you. But I'm Hubert the Mad. My guest co-host today is Gondo. Welcome, Gondo.
Thank you very much. I'm here to say things that don't make sense.
Simon, so for these night streams, at least for us in the US, Simon has been my co-pilot because it's the only other person that is on my schedule because James and Tangus are, in Denmark or Taiwan, or they're both in Denmark like right now. So Gondo has stepped in to fill Simon's role and to fill other things that we'll talk about later. But today we have someone that I've wanted to have on the podcast for such a long fucking time, and someone that needs no introduction, but I'll introduce him anyway. It's ChickenMan. Welcome,
Nice.
ChickenMan.
Welcome, man.
Hello, I'm ChickenMan.
So, for for me personally, I know you from. I'm so glad that we talked about, like, we had you here and we have Gondo here, because I've been fucking mispronouncing this left and right. I know you best from what I used to call the seal, but it's actually pronounced the
CL,
CL.
I think.
Okay. I've been fucking that up for years. I say fucking A. I call it the Jixty.
It's French, so it's ciel.
Ciel.
Jixty. I don't know if it was there's any correct way to pronounce
but they're actually called the what?
I call them the Jixt. And the name doesn't really come from anywhere other than I knew that a J looked really cool, and then I wanted to have an X the name for the engraving, so I put a J and an X, and then I selected random letters to look good.
Well, I think the way you pronounce it is correct. So I know you from the ciel instead of the seal because I'm a fucking idiot. The Jixt instead of the Jixty because again I'm also a fucking idiot. And then I was showing off the two units that I had. This brass prototype one, and then this polycarbonate one.
Nice.
I'm a slut for 60% gummy O-ring keyboards because I was not in the hobby at the time that the unicorn craze occurred. I mean, I guess it's still fucking super expensive on the aftermarket, but yeah, the Singa unicorn. I wanted to find a inner and outer weight 60% Bakaneko basically, and then I found your shit, dude. I went to the CL, I went to the Jixt, and I was able to get this GMK clock in the middle here.
No way.
Yeah, I think I bought one of the last kits from Dang Keebs. I could not get the cluck kit, unfortunately.
It must be. I think GMK Cluck is actually one of the sets that still sells pretty close to retail since there weren't a ton of extras. And the child kit was particularly the face kit is a novelty and quite actually hard to find for many.
Yeah.
And I think some have actually even been flipping. I've been looking at the Chinese market and there are scalpers for my face kit only.
Oh my god. It's true. I guess we'll start from the beginning. I know that you were pretty young when you started everything, right? What was the very first thing you ever designed? Was it
Okay,
was it
shit,
GK
he's
Clock?
still very young. He wasn't young when he started. Look at him. Still very young.
Yeah, I'm still in college, and I must have been about to turn 14, or I think I was still 13 for 2 weeks when I first joined any mechanical keyboard related server. But the first thing I made was,
At such a
I
young
believe
age.
it was a very original design for the Treeleaf 917. It just didn't work. It was terrible because it was I took an engineering class and I knew a bit of CAD computer design, and then I made it, except Loki just didn't work.
Teenagers, man. They know just one thing and they think that they know everything. That's so fucking teenager. I just took one class and I'm like, fuck yep, let's make shit. Yeah, that's how it works. I'm an engineer, but like I know exactly how that is. You know, I took one calculus class and I'm like, fuck that. I'm fucking Einstein now. I know shit. You know, I know how that is. That's insanely young though. So you were first, you first got in contact with keyboards at the tender age of 14.
I believe so. I was just starting high
Damn,
school.
we're picking them young these days, aren't we? That's bad. Fuck.
It was I've got a lot of shocked faces
Yeah,
usually at
because
meetups.
you
Like,
know, when I started, we were just a bunch of neckbeards. You know those neckbeards guys that smell like asshole in the basements? That
Yeah,
was us. By the
yeah.
way, now we're recruiting 14-year-olds to design keyboards. There's,
and
yeah,
was it very recent like that? I think it was one of Keychron's keyboard designers is also like in high school still, I think. Was he 17 right now? There was
oh
a
shit,
video on
oh shit,
I think it was Linus Tech Tips must have made a video on him recently, but it was like, hey,
nice,
someone something something, Keychron keyboard designer. Man, he was like I think 17, 18? He was very
nice.
young. Might even be younger than me now.
Damn.
But yeah, and then the next thing after I got that was GMK Cluck. GMK Cluck was it was a weird time starting because I started making like renders and everything right before keyboard render kit became popular, and when people were still using a ton of different softwares, with Blender not being like the dominant one. So I rendered pretty much everything in Fusion 360, which is not a rendering software.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, Fusion is pretty difficult to make work for rendering. People have been able to make some pretty good stuff with it, you know. But yeah, if you want to really do something good with that, you need to use like Blender is awesome. Problem is, it's insanely difficult to learn Blender. I had to learn a little bit of it to make renders for PCBs. Fucking shit. It's complicated.
There definitely was a large curve, and but then I stuck with Fusion 360 for most of it, and then I eventually got Keyboard Render Kit and started playing with that. But I believe I think the base kit renders on that had been used for GMK Collect, the group buy and everything, I think those were still on Fusion 360. I was sort of able to figure it out with like photography as far as like I would create just random planes and give them weird light effects. And I made it work, but it definitely was not a great experience, I don't think.
Holy shit, dude. Gondo and I were talking about this a little bit, but what the fuck, dude? When I was 13, 14, I wasn't doing this type of shit. Like, this is inspiring. I was like beating off in a corner and trying not to get caught by my parents. Holy fuck, dude.
Yeah, I was doing electronics, so yeah,
Oh,
I'm nerdy as fuck. So yeah, I was messing with electronics at the time. Also beating my shit, but a little bit less. Um, you know,
dude. How was it just something like this seems kind of cool, even though it seems fucking difficult, but I'm just gonna push through it? Like, what was your mindset to continue doing it in Fusion? There's no other chance. There's no other way to do it, right?
Um, I think at the time I thought Fusion 360 was definitely the easiest program for me to go with since it was what I had experience with. But I just like really just pushed through it since Fusion 360, even though it's like not great at all for renders, it's still very bare bones and basically there's not much to learn. There's not much to do. So I was able to get reasonably working renders through that. And I was just
okay.
basically CAD a keyboard and then like move the keycaps in and everything for that. But at the time it was during COVID, so online classes and all, I could work on it during class.
Ah,
Makes sense.
honestly,
Makes
that is
sense.
fantastic.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
pretty dope.
I used to play RuneScape during class. Uh, so I guess same thing, but obviously not as useful to the community. But after Cluck, what was the next thing? Like, what was your first keyboard design? Because I know you from the Bakanekos, obviously. Was it the CL?
No, I don't. I think it was actually this was actually happening, I think, before Cluck or somewhere during. Because Cluck, it was a very long time before when it first entered interest checked and then went to getting vendors and then group buy and then actually delivering. It was a hugely long period. I believe Dyna 104 was right between GMK Cluck and when I first started like the hobby. I think it was FaZe reached out to me, and at the time I think he was also in high school, so it was like everything was scuffed. Everything I did. Dino 104 eventually did deliver,
That's how it
but
is.
it also took a ton of long time between IC and Group I, and a lot of the hype for it died down, so its units were not great. But I know the Dino 104 people still like that very much, and the units are selective enough for it to like. Still, people will DM me and be like, "Hey, do you have any chance of having extras for that?"
Holy shit, this looks fucking amazing. And I'll obviously link your website
Oh yeah,
in the description, but look at all the different projects you've done. This is fucking amazing, dude.
I
That's
think
pretty.
that's nearly but pretty much all the projects that I think almost got at least got produced. I still have all the random keyboards still behind in my saved files. And then but I haven't updated that website in a bit. It's just there for archive, I suppose. Because haven't designed any keyboards as of recent.
That's true. That makes sense. Well, uh, before I get to the next thing, I wanted to bring up the tangent again that we were talking about off air. So Gondo is a big fan of your designs as well. He was talking about the Noctis,
Yeah, the
right,
Noctis.
John?
Yeah, makes me a little bit pissed that he has never contacted me for PCBs. Like, come on, man.
Ah,
But the
yes. I'd,
but the
I I do apologize for that.
like, come on, dude, just hit me up, you know. But I like I don't know, man. It's not that I'm a sucker for the Ellis 10 keyless kind of deal, but it always so for instance we have the was it FLX that did one of them or LZ that did like an Ellis that had the 10 keyless. But one thing that I liked about his particular design was the fact that he also kind of did they're not function keys. What's the name of that left cluster there?
The XT column.
XT column. But so it gets very balanced, right? Like aesthetically speaking, the bottom is also insanely good. If you take a look at how they did the bezels on the bottom, because the Alices and the Ergos, at least that's how we define them in the community. I will die on that fucking hill. Not all Ergos are Alices. I digress. But the problem is that due to the weird geometries, because you have like the real problem with designing those and the difficulty is that you have the typing angle, so your keyboard has to do something like this, but you also have the curvature of the layout. So it goes like this to the inside. So making that fit aesthetically is very difficult. If you look long enough at the Alice, you will start to see that Yutsi made some choices with that, like the indicators or something like that, because he had a space for indicators, but he was like, what I'm gonna do with it? He had some space, and I was like, what I'm gonna do with that? I'm gonna put some indicators, right? So I really doubt that he was planning for that particular place to have indicators. So something like that. But Chicken's design was amazing because it kind of, I feel that it kind of solved that. The aesthetically, it's very pleasing, especially the bottom part. The bottom part is surprisingly good, honestly, and I would very much like to see that happen. It would be very nice. The 60% the Bakanekos, I can't blame him, honestly. It's a good design. It works. It's simple enough. So yeah, as a creator, as something that creates, I guess, inventive or something like that, it it really does get me that you, in that regard, you make the same thing over and over. But I'm also, I've also done that a lot. I do PCBs for keyboards. Come on, I've done the same thing over and over multiple times by now. So yeah, but there is there is something to his designs. The CL was insanely good. Then again, it's very harmonious. I don't know how to say that, but the way that the problems in the designs are solved, it's very good. I really, really, really appreciate it. I didn't know about the other ones though. I only came to know like all of your designs when Hubert asked me to do the interview, and I was like, "Hey, the guy from the CL and the Noctis," and then I searched more about you, and I was like, "Yeah, he made a lot of stuff, and that is freaking awesome."
There's so
Um,
many.
I think to begin with the design of the Noctis, I think I do like their point of the balance part. I think that was exactly what I was going for, because at the time, I really liked the design of the Flix Virgo, and I think it's the LZ Ergo that had the original TKL, but it was not the spread out that the Alice had. It was still a normal, just split keyboard, which is how I
Uh-huh.
prefer my design. And this was also during the time when people were crazy for larger keyboards, like XT columns and Southpaw and all that. And I really like that. So, and then in my eyes, I saw if I put the XT column on the left side, it balances out the nav cluster very well. And otherwise, I sort of just made it to my taste. I think a lot of my keyboard designs they're not matrix, they're not super out there. They're just fairly simple extrudes and sketches that I found at one point that looked pretty nice. And then there's the CL, of course, of me making the
Yeah.
Bakaneko over again. It was early on, I sort of recognized that I could have made the CNC version, which I love so much more than the powdered and cast version that Divinikey's had. Nothing against them, but of course it's a very cheap board. And then I also happened to find Nova Manu who could actually produce at the prices of pretty darn cheap and pretty darn quick. So I was able to run that. And afterwards, I think it was just people really wanted a 65 version. And then when I was with ParamountKeeb, they discussed like they were looking to expand their at the time to expand their keyboard brand, and they wanted me to make something for that along the lines of a Pro CL or Pro Jixt, basically. So I made that for them, and none of the designs I can't say I super liked or were super attached to. I just thought as it was a way that I could sort of make a lot of keyboards, make some money to fund my other projects as far as making prototypes or doing cool shit I want.
I gotcha. Excuse me. So how did you get in contact with ParamountKeeb, or did they reach out to you?
Um, ParamountKeeb, the person who runs it, I originally met through one of the first servers I was like really active in. It wasn't Metkeys, but it was the Taobao gang. Um,
Oh.
Gondo, you were in there, right? I think I do
Uh-huh.
remember seeing your name. But yeah,
Yep.
he was a friend of the Taobao gang, and maybe also he recognized that yeah, I was also sort of a kid. He wasn't particularly old. He something like that. But he recognized that hey, if you want to make something, I'll run it because he already had an existing business and a lot of infrastructure. He had a warehouse and everything. ParamountKeeb was really just a side thing for him as far as he was a trading company sort of along those lines. He was just looking to, hey, I'm in the keyboard hobby. What if I also just sold some keyboard stuff on the side of whatever he was doing?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice.
that's how. Is it Smokey or is it somebody else?
Yes, yeah, Smokey basically. And then but also his friend, he's sometimes known as Ekvin, Kevin, Connor, something like
Ah,
that. He has a
yeah.
cat for a profile picture, but he was the original friend I had that was like, "Hey, wait, Paramount Key, blah blah blah. Can you make some cool stuff? Can you think about what do you think about selling these switches? Hey, down to sell your boards when you run them or not."
Oh my god. That's fucking amazing. So the friends you made in the different Discord servers you were in, was that what helped you fulfill all these projects that you were making? Or how did you get the connections? How did you make those relationships? Because
Um, Almost
yeah.
certainly it was through the original Metkeys KB Tabao server, I mean channel, and then the Tabao gang that I sort of met all these people who pretty much everything I've made, I've consulted with some like subgroup of the active members of, hey, what do you think about this design? Hey, what do you think about this kitting, et cetera, et cetera. And eventually, I think we also moved to the Bobby keycap server. He was an artisan maker who made little bears, and I think that's pretty much it. I think they were very, very valuable in finding me certain manufacturers or thinking of certain prototype ideas or kitting, renders, etc. And I think some of them I would also ask for advice on their 3D design expertise or rendering expertise.
And they were all friendly and like super happy to help you for
Yeah,
the most part.
I definitely say so. I know the Taobao gang, at least in some circles, is still like at least at one point they were infamous. Since the server was, I believe, set up because at one point the KB Taobao channel they were like making clones of desk mats to like make themselves cheaper from China. And I think Beep came in and yell at everyone. And then they made a Taobao gang server to be like, hey, we want to clone our stuff in peace and make our own
Yeah.
offs.
Yeah, I was very I'm still is very I visit it a lot. I don't partake in it because importing stuff in Brazil is insanely expensive. So getting it from Taobao, you have to get like a proxy, and it's difficult for us. But importing stuff into Brazil is I used to be a huge supporter of that of the Taobao thing, especially like stuff like one thing that I love with the UTDs, right? The cloning thing, I think it's very, I think it's debatable whether it's good or not, if it does good or harm the community. It's there. We can ignore that fact. But I always liked Taobao for that kind of thing. I bought a lot of hard cases for keyboards from Taobao. Amazing stuff there. The UTDs I used to have the 10 keyless UTD and was it the 60%? I forget the name.
The 360, the 365, is that?
Yeah, the mini, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, amazing stuff. So yeah, I was very much there. I didn't get or partake in everything, but I was very much there. And so yeah, honestly, that's me on the internet. I'm just very I'm just one of those sleeper guys. I like to be in places, see what people are talking about, but I interact very little. Uh, I should do that more though, but I just don't have the time. More honestly, the inclination. Fuck that. I hate the internet. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I just do remember you appearing here and there within a design channel with some sort of PCB thing or like some sort of
I'm there.
comment.
I'm there.
Was not
The
often. Yeah.
there's a huge problem with the design servers though, and I'll get that. The problem with the design servers is that they are simply swimming in Dunning-Kruger effects, right? Because then again,
Ah,
you have people that know a little bit about design and they know a little bit about things, and then they assume that they know a lot about that subject, right? And that's fine. You do you. But the problem is that people on the internet, they have this weird inclination, which I'll never get, to confront you about it, right? So time and again, people are like, hey, why did you take this particular choice in your PCBs on a certain keyboard that you designed? And I'm like, well, that's because this and that or some decisions. And they started roasting me for that. And I'm like, dude, um, yeah, it's or if you go to certain keyboard servers, or certain design servers, which I'm not naming, that's not the point here. But if you go to certain servers now, you'll see people commenting on my designs like they know their shit. And I'm like, people that never made one single thing, or they just made one project and they think they know the whole thing. And I'm like, you know, it's one thing to make one or other project. It is another thing to make a project that you want to sell thousands of. It's another whole different game. But yeah, I pretty much dislike that kind of server because of that kind of thing. People feel really entitled to criticizing very harshly, by the way. And I just can't help myself around that. If I start getting in those servers, I'm gonna start getting into that kind of circle. So I just avoid that because I'm very defensive about my projects and my stuff. So I just avoid that.
You guys use Discord? Oh, I guess I'll backtrack a little bit. So I used to use Discord a lot in the actual channels themselves when I had time. But as years, got on and I had more and more responsibilities, personal life, family, work, I've been using Discord more as just like an instant messenger. So I'm not very much in those public channels, but I just use it to DM friends and things like that. Are you two the same?
I think at some point I was active in a ton of servers. It was not just to DM friends or anything. I was there to interact and find new people and show off cool things. But I think now I've definitely slowed down. I'm only active in a few servers and it's the same friend group. So essentially, yeah, I think it is just sort of a social messenger service. But at one point, I was everywhere.
Yeah, I use it a lot for work, for the keyboard stuff. It's mainly instant messaging. I am in many servers, but that's mainly because of support, right? So all of the projects that I've done, I'm in the vendor or the particular designer server so that people can PM me in case they need something or they can, or they need something, or that kind of thing. And pretty much, I used to interact much more. Honestly, I was never a huge internet guy. I was never that kind of person that lingered around and saw what other people are doing. And I don't know. It was never me. I was never social to begin with, to be honest. So yeah, it's more instant messaging. Sometimes I linger around. I do try to interact a lot in the Brazilian server.
Yeah.
I do try to stir up some conversation, get the server going, that kind of thing. The Brazilian community has been hit pretty hard with some of the, especially in the last 1 to 2 years, because the federal government has placed down some very harsh tariffs on importations, which pretty much killed the hobby for us. It's very, very, very seldom that someone gets into a group like these days. So the server is dwindling, and I'm trying to stir it up a little bit.
Oh, thank you, dude. Fuck. Again, it's putting yourself in other shoes. I know us in the US, we're complaining about the tariffs because we're facing them now, especially things from China. But I guess Brazil has been suffering through that for a while now. Like, that sucks,
Well,
dude.
it depends. The thing about Brazil is that nothing is manufactured here. It's very expensive to get things made here. So when consumer goods, they are generally very expensive to get here. So like keyboards, electronics, that kind of thing, they're all imported. So what the Brazilian government does is they tax the fuck out of it, right? So for instance, now if I am to buy anything from anywhere, pretty much when I get into Brazil, I'm gonna get a 92% tax on the product plus shipping.
Jesus.
So
Fuck.
it gets insanely difficult to get that. So yeah, you Americans, you're fucking bitches because you're complaining about what 30%. Fucker, I've been paying 150 all my life. It's like that meme, first time.
Oh my god.
So yeah, it's been pretty hard for me. Particularly, it's been pretty hard to get like prototype PCBs. That's been so fucking hard because not only it's like huge tariffs, it also take like 2 months to arrive. So any PCB prototypes that I get, that I try to make, they take so long. I've had projects last years because of that. So yeah.
I don't want to put you on the spot, so if you want some time to think about it, that's totally fine. But I was talking with Zamb last weekend, and he was saying how he knew Gondo PCBs not because of the quotes that we brought up during our episode, but because he realized that you use specific. Oh fuck! I don't know PCB lingos, like specific design things. Like maybe the circles are the same on your PCBs, or like Gondo makes his PCBs like this because the circles are like this, or you can know it's a Gondo PCB because it uses this component and things like that.
That's new to me.
Oh, is it? I'm
That's new to me.
sorry, Zamb.
Maybe, yeah, no, maybe he's saying something. Maybe he picked something that I did. Maybe he said about the microcontroller. So I was probably the first guy to do STM microcontrollers on a large scale, I guess. So AI was doing it megas, Heine was doing it megas. They still do. Wilba still doing it megas. And I think I was the first guy to do STMs, the ARM ones, on a large scale, even though we had like the Planck. I think they did the 303 earlier. So maybe that's it. Honestly, I'll have to hear from him. I've
Yeah.
never heard that.
I wish I
To be
remembered.
honest.
But do you see that with ChickenMan's designs, or at least the few that you've seen? Is there a specific some sort of design language that he follows, or something that's like, oh, that's a ChickenMan board? But for me, it's because there's a fucking chicken in the. Here, let me.
Yeah, not only there's the logo, but there is something to be said about the harmony. So there is a design language going on there. Definitely, there's something going on there. For instance, the jixt. You can see that the bottom of the jixt is very close. At least that's how I see it. It's very close to the. It's kind of close to the. Or I forgot to Noctis. You can see how one talks to the other one, right? So there's definitely something going on there. I think that he nailed it in the sense that he said that his designs are more he tends towards the simpler designs, right? Which is something that I honestly envy. It's very difficult to make complicated things that are actually simple. It's insanely difficult.
Yeah. Do you follow some specific design language, Chicken Man, or you try and implement something throughout a lot of your boards, like something specific?
Now, this is actually interesting that you brought this up because I don't think it's actually anything I've ever particularly thought through since I'd imagine myself as growing a lot from my first ever keyboards to my later ones. Just simply because I am currently an engineering student, and as I learn more and more, I hope that those designs will change, sort of whatever manufacturing capabilities or new techniques I manage to come up with. However, I don't think the only thing I think that's been in particular that Gondo mentioned was my designs are not super out there. They're not Matrix, even though I very do admire Matrix and Bull and I think Halley for some of their designs. They're phenomenal. They're beautiful. But I just choose a side profile and then I go from there and I choose layout side profile. And then depending on the layout, I might just think, okay, here's a weight that would look good. Here's a weight that wouldn't look good. I think that's really it. But if there was something to mention, is I sometimes do like a trapezoidal weight where it's not completely ideal because you have an acute angle here, so you can't have like a sharp bit. So it forces the manufacturer to sometimes use the round end ball end bit, even though that just to I don't know, it's something I've done, and I think a few people have pointed that out how I have that in at least like 3, 4, or 5 of my designs for a long time, and I don't think there's any particular reason why I do that other than to it gets a little more gets you a little more brass in there versus something like that. Maximize area.
Dude, I wish I was not such a fucking idiot because Zamb was talking about this as well. He was saying how he was going into like all these different CNCing techniques or like how the cutter does this or fucking whatever. And that's so cool to hear you talk about that because for me, you know, the average Joe uh hobbyist, since I've never designed something, since I'm not that deep, I don't know those intricacies that you talked about, but um the fact that you know your shit. That's what I'm trying to say. Maybe when you first started, it was just a lot of let's see what sticks, but um, that's very cool to hear how you're trying to implement these different things throughout your design and grow and stuff like that.
I think for a period there was a time where I was trying to optimize a ton of designs for maximum. I know there's certain rules for like if the radius of your hole should be a quarter or at least bigger than a quarter of your like hole depth and a lot of those things like minimize fillets, use chamfers instead as far as machinings. But then at some point I talked to certain machinists and for them they said the scale of keyboards so small it honestly doesn't matter, everything's pretty strong, everything's pretty good. And then I asked my manufacturer like, hey, I made this design, you could use a 3-axis in there to save money. And then he was like, oh no, for you I do 5-axis all the time, for you only the best. But I guess a lot of those things I actually, when I started going into more deeper into engineering as far as competing in competitions, like on a school level basis and just locally, they would say things, hey, you do this thing like an artist rather than an engineer. And other times they would comment on, hey, you look like you knew a machinist or you ran a CNC at one point. And I don't, yeah, back to design language, I don't think I have anything super in particular.
Yeah, yeah, that's so cool, dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Go ahead, Kenneth.
There's definitely a learning curve in the creation process. In that you want to make things look a certain way and have a vision for them. Yes, that's yeah. But not only that, you need to make the thing. The thing needs to be made, right? In that sense, you have to learn. You can't do anything that you want. You have to learn how to fit things together. You know, so there's definitely a learning curve there. The artistic thing that you mentioned, I've heard it a lot of times. I've worked with a lot of companies in electronics, and they were like, "It's weird because um, um, we can tell when a PCB is yours." You know, which is not something that generally happens. When you generally take a PCB, a generic PCB, it's just a PCB, like someone made it using a set of rules, right? And it does get you geared towards that when you work in a hobby community. It does gear you towards um towards um, um a language.
Since both of you, obviously, Gondo, you're going to defend soon your thesis, and ChickenMan's in college. Have there been a lot of opportunities with engineering or just college in general that have helped you in terms of keyboards? Like, uh, maybe being able to make relationships with, I don't know, some fucking dude that has a CNC machine or some shit like that? Or has college been beneficial for you in terms of the hobby, whether it's just knowledge or just being able to know people, having relationships?
I've been in college for 1 year at this point, so
Yeah.
I don't think there's actually much I've been helped with or learned specifically hobby related from the college, as I'm still doing a ton of my undergraduate, my generic required courses, all the maths, all the physics, and all that. But I think in general, actually, the keyboard help hobby has helped me be a better engineer in some sort of way. As in, of course, I knew CAD before I entered the hobby, and I knew just a tiny bit. But then I would keep making keyboards. Eventually, I got quite familiar with Fusion 360, with SolidWorks, with Onshape, and that actually helped me a lot in joining a lot of school-related activities that might require, like, what you think as engineering, as robotics competitions or design challenges or stuff like that. Um, the experience with CAD, I think, definitely comes from making stuff over and over again, and you get familiar with the layouts, the formats, all the shortcuts. And in that way, I think it's rather the keyboard hobby that has helped me in my education rather than my education has helped me inside the keyboard hobby. Since, when I started, I had no education.
Gotcha. I got you. What about you, Gondo?
Well, for me, um, so from a, how can I say this? From a technical perspective, sure, yeah, the college has helped a lot with designing electronics and that kind of thing. For instance, if you are to get ultra nerdy, I can describe electromagnetics and how pixies travel around the PCB and that kind of thing. Sure, but at the end of the day, it's not like when you start getting into it and you do it a lot and yada yada yada. It doesn't get insanely technical. It doesn't. It's not something that you really need a degree for, or something like that. So it was always the other way around. The first time that I did it, the keyboard thing was actually the main motivation was money. I'm sorry, um, because I loved it. I love doing keyboards and I love designing them. But at some point, I was like, this is taking so much of my time that I need to do
Yeah.
something with this or leave it alone, right? Hope Gladly, I had some friends that helped me. I had a lot of people that helped me, and it kind of helped launch my keyboard career. Is that a thing? I don't know. So I uh, I talked in the other episode of how the my career choice, academia, is very harsh on the money side, right? And I was very blessed to have the keyboard community help me with that. And it basically helped me sustain during those times and that kind of thing, to the point where honestly I wouldn't be able to do all of the degrees that I wanted with it if it weren't for keyboards. So it's something that really 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 touches me, honestly, when I mention it. And so it was always the other way around. It was never that the college helped keyboards much on the other way around. From a technical standpoint, sure, yeah. But you don't get many connections. You don't get networking for keyboards in college, in engineering, that kind of thing. No.
I gotcha. I always wondered because at the college that I went to, I saw all my friends and my roommates were electrical engineers. So in their labs, they had the Hako soldering stations, those blue ones.
Uh huh.
So I always wonder if somebody's in the keyboard hobby and they're a designer, if there's ever a possibility to like maybe buy some material and use like I don't know, their machines to make a prototype or something like that, or if that's even possible, if that's allowed by the school or whatever.
Well, maybe I'm not sure what flavor engineered chicken is into. Like your mechanical,
Yeah, what
what's your drug?
I'm currently in community college, and I'm on a path to transfer from mechanical slash aerospace, somewhere right between there.
Nice.
But I could, yeah, like if I wanted to, I could go access one of the nice CNCs and try to make a keyboard prototype. Of course, I also have
Fuck
access
yeah.
to all the laser cutters, 3D printers, whatnot, which I do use to make with in some of my projects. Yeah, I'll actually- I do have one
That's so
here.
cool.
I got help. I was able to use like some of the sanding materials and a sandblaster and like chemicals too. This is a Norbauer. This is one of the Norbaforces, but I
Yep.
was able to strip the coating off. It was like a Z stock that I bought for $50. I stripped the coating off and used chemicals to blacken the aluminum, and then finished it. And I think a lot of this has definitely been easier with some of the access to like college or school related resources as far as access to machines. And
Yeah.
actually, in the back, I have this was
For the audio listeners, you're missing out just because not only does Chicken Man have fantastic hair, but this is fucking awesome. Holy shit!
this
Is that
is
like a
It is.
This is
Yeah.
the Starry TKL. It was based off Bocchi the Rock anime, and in that anime, the character that this board is based off of apparently uses this guitar and is able to model and then print that, and among other things, it
oh my
actually
god.
functions as a keyboard since I still
Yeah.
have the cable coming out of it. But I was able to print this on one of the printers there. Well, now I have my own printer.
What in the actual fuck? Yeah.
So for the audio listeners, it's a keyboard inside of a guitar. It's part of the guitar. It's fucking amazing. Holy fuck, dude.
That's nice. Does it play anything? Cause it has the arm. If I understand correctly, it's a keyboard frame with the guitar arm. Yeah, I get that.
Pretty much just like a costume frame to put the keyboard in. I do have strings if you can see it, but it's just fishing line, and then I
Uh-huh.
have knobs, but some of them broken off. But so it's really not functional as a guitar, but
Yeah.
I'd say it has
Okay.
like play features for as like if you want to give it to your kid to have fun with. Like I have a keycap
Nice.
here, I have fake knobs at the bottom, and I can still use it as a keyboard if I plug it in right and do other
Okay.
type of meetups.
Is that the thing that you bring to the meetups? Or like what's your meetup your hall that you like to bring?
I think I've been rotating it. I'd say I'd bring a keyboard to maybe 3, 4 meetups, and then I'll switch it out since at some point I realized I kept getting tired of seeing like the same frog or the same Jane or the same unicorn over and over again. And it's like the exact same build with the exact same keycaps. So I try to rotate it out every time I go to a different meet. So I think I stopped bringing this to meets like my last meet I brought this to was I think 5 months ago that was, like, the retiring meet, and I'll try to get something new, which would probably be my normal course, but this is one of the projects I started recently. I finished this one just a few days ago.
That's so cool. That's so fucking awesome.
Nice. Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of meetups in can I say SoCal? Like I'm not gonna dox you obviously, but is that okay to keep?
Yeah, it's okay,
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think
If
a
you
link
could give
would
us
take
like a name, a number, an address, a credit
College.
card,
Yeah.
yeah, college, that would be dope. Honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, there seems to be like obviously the community is fucking huge and there's a lot to do in SoCal. But there seems to be so many awesome meetups there.
I think at one point the meetups were super bustling, and right now it's still fairly active. We have a lot of keyboard related clubs from local colleges that will host fairly mid to large sized meets, and those are always fun to attend. A lot of hobbyists go. And then, of course, we have Keeb Life by Frank from Mushki, and he runs this great meetup every year. Very large, very good. Um, and then otherwise, there's a lot of small meets that will happen between small friend groups that are like maybe 20 people at a boba shop or something. I know that happens down in San Diego. In Orange County, there used to be more organizers, but I'd say where I am, Orange County, the meetup scene is slightly dead. Not really. We still have UCI keyboard meetups, but yeah, we have at least like a big one every, or a mid-sized one every quarter.
I gotcha. Where I used to live in San Diego, so I know I know a lot about the South, but like where is Orange County in relation to like Oakland?
Orange County is right between San Diego and Los Angeles. It's like depending on where people are from, I might just be easier to say "Hey, I'm from the suburbs of LA," and that's like close enough that people get the idea of where I am.
We went shoot, was it a month ago, 2 months ago? We went back to visit San Diego where we used to live, and then we stopped by LA. I had my very first In-N-Out burger in California.
Wait, really?
Yeah. I don't fucking know why, but when we used to live in San Diego, it was the Habit, that chain. It was Costco, Costco hamburgers.
Costco hamburgers.
The specific Costco's around the world have specific place like in Iowa we used to have chili, Costco chili in the food court. When I went to Toronto, they had poutine. Yeah, they had poutine, and I was like, "Fuck, Costco's like Costco hamburger." It was not good, obviously, but I had In-N-Out, and it was fucking amazing. Uh, the vibe is just so awesome, man. California, I love California. I've never been more north than I don't know, fuck maybe San Francisco or but it's so nice. It's so nice. I don't know if what you do outside of keyboards, like you enjoy walking and in nature and like just enjoying
Of course.
California. Yeah. Oh my god,
Friends.
dude. What do you do outside of the keyboard hobby just to have fun?
I think at one point the keyboard hobby was my main most mode of fun, but in recent years I've gotten a ton into photography, cinematography, all kinds of even
Nice.
film photos.
The
Even,
fuck you're doing in engineering, dude? Come on.
I think it was growing up in Asian households. Like, okay, you have
Oh.
options of doctor, lawyer, or engineer. I was like,
Okay.
okay,
Yeah. Makes
I'd
sense.
rather
Okay.
be. I think I'd rather be an engineer, and it was a fairly recent thing of me. Hey, I really like. I'm slightly into coffee or whatever, but I really like photography and videography. And honestly, if given the chance, I would love to jump ship. I'd still probably finish and get my degree in engineering, but I would love to go full time in photography. Except that the job market right now is looking quite terrible for anything creative related, even in LA, which is one of like the best places to have start a career in.
Always was. The creative market always was problematic. It probably always is gonna be, because it so much depends on like being at the right place at the right time, networking. It is what it is, man. Academia is a lot like that too, so I can't say much. But
Yeah,
yeah, whenever anyone is in your position, I tell them to do exactly what you did. I'm like, listen, do some community college, which is something that is it doesn't guarantee anything given, but it really helps you get a job that pays decently, I feel. And then you can procure passions or you can specialize or something like that. University is a different beast, though. University is not something that I tell everyone to do. Like, you know, for instance, I would very much expect you to be much more skillful in designing things and making things than I am after 13 years of being in academia because we don't design shit, right? I'm a researcher. I do math. That's what I do. So I was very blessed in having a very practical upbringing in that sense. The whole electronics thing. So I know how things work, how to make things. But I had colleagues in my engineering classes that they've never seen circuits in their life. And they probably never do because they do engineering and they go work in a fucking bank or whatever.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh shit.
and then
So yeah.
Go ahead.
sorry. And here, university, do you mean graduate school as far as upper level education, or do you just mean the undergrad? All the
Well, see, it depends on where you are and what you want to do. For the US and the places you guys are, university and grad school, they are generally very permissive in the sense that if you want to do research, like pure hard research, you have a place for that. If you want to have a foot in industry and do some research with industry, you have a place in that. If you just want to go industry and then specialize yourself in that, you also have a place for that. So technology is very permissive on that front. I don't know about humane sciences. I hear that they are very less permissive. Um, but in any case, that's how it goes. In Brazil, the matter of fact is that when you go to college and you do a PhD, you're gonna be a researcher because the interaction that universities have with the private sector is very limited. That's for various reasons. So when people ask me about college, I'm like, so if you want, the matter of fact is that, and then again, I'm very biased to say this because I'm the college guy. I love university. I love the place. I love academia. It has its faults. Yes, it's not for everyone in the sense that you have to deal with a lot of shit too. But I love it. I find myself in that place. But whenever someone comes to me and say, "Hey, should I go to college?" I'm like, if you take a look at statistics, a degree is the single most important differentiator when it comes down to salary and longevity in the industry. Um, that's statistics. I know that this is true for Brazil. I know this is true for the US. I don't know for Europe, Canada, or whatever, other places. But I do know that people with degrees, they tend to earn many times during their lifetime compared to people that don't. This is one thing. That's one thing. The other thing is, the problem is that we're getting very specialized. Every industry is getting specialized. So if you don't specialize yourself, you're just one other person in the market, right? So I have a friends. They're like, okay, so should I do like a master's? And I'm like, it's good to have something like that because then after having a master's, you're not just someone. You know, you have a specialization, you specialize in a field, you do things. Exactly what the master is, you can decide for yourself. Most of my friends, they went to the private sector. They found a place for them. They found like a niche, a particular field that they like working in, and then they did the masters in that particular field. So I very much recommend that. Then again, statistically speaking, it pays out. Then again, this is technology. I don't know who means sciences. I know this is for technology, and I see that working. I see people that had the technical education, as we call it in Brazil, which I think is what you guys would call community colleges, and they struggle sometimes because okay, they are very. You can easily find a job, yes, but the problem is that the earnings they are kept very early. So once you get to a certain level, it's very difficult to earn more than that, right? Um, so people have dreams, people have aspirations. They want to travel, they want to buy expensive cars or whatever. Everyone has their thing, and the matter of fact is that the most of the time, statistically speaking, you achieve higher salaries with university. That's the statistics. That's how I see it. All of this being said, it's also university is a weird place, man, because you keep learning about this stuff. So engineering, you have like 2 years of math and physics, and then you're like, okay, how am I going to use that? And when you get down to using it, you don't use half of the things that you've learned. So it's weird. We're having a huge problem in university right now, which is AI. So I have lots of my students that don't pay attention to the fucking class, and they just ask ChatGPT, because ChatGPT gives them a very colorful and clear answer to what they want. Like, what the fuck are Maxwell's equations? And they're this asshole in front of me that's writing shit. Yeah, and I'm a clown, right? Because I like this. So I'm like excited talking about Maxwell's equations and how to solve them and how like Einstein's relativity is basically a generalization of Maxwell's equations, that kind of thing. And then they go to ChatGPT and they say, what the fuck are Maxwell equations? And ChatGPT gives them a wrong answer because it's fucking ChatGPT, but it still gives them a nice, pretty answer. And we're like, how am I going to compete with that? How am I going to compete with a machine that's purportedly all-knowing and can give you a clear response into that, right? It's very difficult. So lots of problems. Anyway, I've talked a lot. Yes, I do think colleges are worth it if you take a look at statistics. But I wouldn't say that it's for everyone. It takes a special kind of grit to go through college, to learn things, to go to the place, to deal with the egos. Because it's a place of egos. So I definitely recommend, but I'm like, if you don't want to do that, and if you think you can live a nice life, and feel fulfilled anywhere else, absolutely do it. I'm not the guy that's gonna tell you,
Dude.
absolutely you have to have a fucking college degree.
That's fucking awesome. Before I ask my next question, you brought up something really cool that obviously I'm not in college anymore, but I want to ask ChickenMan, what is AI like as a student, or what do the teachers say about it? Because this wasn't a thing when I went to college or school in general.
Okay, so I actually do use ChatGPT a fair amount. I always plug in everything like, "Hey, can you give me a summary?" Blah 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 blah. But of course, it has its limitations with pretty much anything like past high school level of physics or math or electronics or anything like that. It just doesn't understand how to do things. So yes, I think reading the textbook, but there are also often times where professors will always highly encourage you to incorporate ChatGPT, but only as a part of your learning experience. Stuff like, hey, I don't understand this equation, so you plug in the textbook chapter and then you ask it to summarize that, which I believe it's much better at summarizing information you give it than rather pulling it off the internet, which is complete awful ass. Um, but yeah, pretty much everyone uses it in some form. That professors know that you're using it, and there's no good way for them to stop it. So they definitely encourage you to use it as a learning material, just as you would probably
Yeah.
with like Spark Notes or any sort of online helper.
I remember when I had to write essays and things like that, we had to submit them in something that I'm 100% sure checks if you're, you know, uh, what's the word with the P? Plagiarizing. Is that something that engineering classes what do you do? You have to submit like code or like your
Um,
designs? How
I've
how do they check?
I've had to write papers and a lot of those with like literary analysis through similar adjacent to academia as far as like, hey, we're preparing you for the future, so here, please write an academic paper or review or something like that. But the problem is, I think the plagiarizer checkers aren't great. A lot of times, if you give ChatGPT a good amount of your work in some beginning and have that saved somewhere, you can input it and say, "Hey, you wrote this earlier, but like a different version of you, ChatGPT." You plug in and say, "Hey, can you make this thing that you wrote into the style of whatever I plugged in earlier?" And that actually gets through, I believe, a ton of all the plagiarizer checkers. And from also what I know, a lot of people will take, let's say, a 5 sentence paragraph, say, can you expand it to 8? And that gets you to a lot of word counts or a lot of fluff or
Yeah.
whatever.
That's
And it's
That's
kind of
cool.
just, you can kind of tell, but you can never know. Unlikely that a professor will be able to prove, hey, we're going to expel you from the class or drop you or something like
That's
that. And
amazing. That's
I think
amazing.
I've definitely incorporated ChatGPT in some aspect into a lot of my work. Although I think I am a high performing student, the one that doesn't rely on that much, but even then I will ton of times just plug in, say, "Hey, can you explain this to me? Why is my approach not working? Do you see my error in my work?" Stuff like that. But I rarely ever to just generate an answer that I would then turn in.
For me, who isn't in a field that requires like a lot of math and things like that, it's so cool to hear about AI from the student's perspective and from the teacher's perspective. Gondo and ChickenMan. I, Man, that's so awesome. I don't know. It's just boomer here. Like, oh wow, like a light bulb here. I wish we had that back when I was going through there, because like you were saying, the professors, they know people are using it, and how do they fight against that? I wonder if they can,
Well,
like you
see,
said.
it's not a matter of fighting it, because it's a tool like anyone else. What people don't understand about these AIs is that they are statistical models. There's nothing intelligent about them. They're very sophisticated statistical models. That's what they are. And those statistical models, what they basically do is they have an algorithm that processes information and stores it and makes links and patterns with that information based on what you input of it, which is what we call training, right? So it's exactly what ChickenMan said. They're awesome for processing information. So you have some piece of information that's quite contrived, and for some reason you don't understand it, or you want to get a summary of it or something like that. They're amazing at that. Honestly, I use it. I wouldn't say all the time, but when I'm like, okay, so I want to know about a certain subject, I go into them and say, hey, what can you tell me about this? And then they're going to give me a summary and references, which is awesome. And again, I'm going to look that way. The problem being that in pretty much 50-60% of the times they're wrong. They'll look at the references wrong and something like that. So they're not perfect. They can give you some heads up. But the automating stuff, also amazing, there's no fighting that anymore. It's very difficult to compete against that. Professors, I'm going to say this for university in particular, they have a specific problem in the fact that professors are researchers with a side gig of teaching. We are never taught on how to teach. If you take a look at grad courses for masters and PhDs in research and that kind of thing, you never have teaching classes. That's never a thing. We're never taught how to pass information, which is ironic because that's literally the job, isn't it? Passing information. So it's very difficult to find a professor that is good at transmitting, at making a summary of things and giving you the important part, an interesting part about that. In engineering specifically, we have a problem in that, in general, when you have an engineer that knows a lot of math and physics, he's seen as a technical guy. So it's difficult because it involves a lot of math. So you perceive someone's class as quote unquote good because it's a lot of math and you can understand it. No, it's just a bad lesson. You didn't understand shit. It's a bad lesson, right? So AI is insanely good at that particularly. It's horrible as a source of information. Absolutely horrible. It doesn't distinct, it doesn't filter information, it just learns from information. And there's this term for crap in, crap out, which is basically, if you give it bad info, it's going to give you bad info. It's simply as that, you know, which is actually, you can see how that leads to a problem because internet, right? So AI has that particular problem. What I hate about artificial intelligence is that what people don't understand is that when you're doing lessons, so like Chicken said about like writing papers, what is the objective when we ask students to write papers? It's for them to summarize the subject or whatever they're doing in a fashion so as to someone that's not exactly in that field to be able to read that paper and get some sort of information out of that. So you're learning something. Imagine that you're writing this for someone that didn't take the class or is having first-time contact with that particular field. Write me a paper out of that, and that's very powerful. You learn a lot doing that, right? And that's what we want them to do. So using AI kind of defeats that. We don't like when they use AI or plagiarize because it defeats the purpose of them doing that. We want you to actually process the information and give me your assessment of that. I'm not going to go into the details of how plagiarizing stuff is like a canonical death sin in academia, right? Careers have been destroyed by plagiarism. So, yeah, but that's the gist of it.
I want to put my 2 cents in real quick about college, and then I'll ask the question that I want to ask both of you. As someone so I started as a physics major. I went to BYU Idaho. This was when I was a Mormon many years ago. And then the girl that that I thought that I loved, well, I guess I loved at that time, uh, split up. Didn't didn't want to be a Mormon anymore due to various other reasons, and then I switched to geology. And
Geology, that's awesome.
yeah, and then after geology, I finally switched to the major that I got a bachelor's in, which is kinesiology, exercise science. And the thing that was so fucking amazing, at least in the U.S. And the colleges that I went to, um, was that as an undergrad, if you went up to a professor that you knew was a researcher or was working on this or that, and you asked them, "Hey, can I help with this? Can I help with that?" It's not to the level of a grad student, obviously, who helps them with their research, but the opportunities that I had to kind of learn how to analyze scientific documents or research or experiment. It's fucking awesome, and I love that in the U.S. colleges, at least the ones that I know. If you're an undergrad and you're super passionate about wanting to learn something, and you figure out that your professor or a professor in some other department is researching this or that, I would say go out and ask them, hey, it may not be for a credit, it may not be for anything that you could put on your degree, but for knowledge itself, help out. um, I love helping out in the kinesiology labs. We put these little force sensors, like these little sticky force sensors, on different people's different places on a person's body, and we had them, deadlift. We had them jump. We saw the different, force readings of this and that. And a lot of the grad students that I was helping, they brought that information to the professor, and they were able to publish, um, articles about ACL injuries, shear force, like what what's the force rating of somebody who's about to have an ACL injury, things like that. It's so fucking amazing. If there's anything that you take out of my little rant or ramble here, is that I would say take college as an opportunity to learn. Um, if you choose the college route, if you're able to find a professor that's researching something about something that you think is really cool, ask them if you can help out. Even if you're not a grad student, even if it's just, the littlest things, building that relationship, taking those opportunities is fucking awesome. And I want to ask ChickenMan first. What do you foresee yourself doing as like a dream job? I know it's you're super fucking young and you don't have to give a specific answer right now, but just in general, is it
I'd be a
is it
camera engineer
aerospace?
at Canon.
Yeah,
It's a very easy answer of dream job for me.
yeah, yeah.
Engineer as far as like designing lenses, going through all the light, all the mounts, all the mechanics, all the little motors in there. Camera engineer at Canon. That's the easy option for me.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my god. That's so cool. That's fucking awesome. Are
Actually,
there
I
go
do
ahead.
have another one, which is as far as on VXR departments, very specialized in product photography and product like when you make all the ads that go on like the movies that play before YouTube, whatever.
Yeah.
There's all those sometimes there's a lot of very specialized mechanics like the robots that will throw crumbs precisely in the air or the 7-axis arm robots to move the cameras. Designing those are also something I want as far as incorporating mechatronics and practical effects.
Holy shit, dude. This is fucking amazing. Oh my god.
Nice.
Are the you're in community college right now, but is there a college, and you don't have to say it specifically, just like a yes or no. Is there a college that you want to transfer to specifically that has those opportunities, or like a specific
Um,
professor that is
yes,
into that?
so I'm in community college right now because I came out of high school, didn't get into the places I wanted to. I actually tried to transfer again this year, which is usually it's a 2-year path, but I did it in 1 year, although I guess unlucky. I was labeled as apparently high risk because I did my classes too quickly, and so basically, I have major requirements in order to require a transfer. But because I only had a 1 year span, basically I only completed half of those major requirements, and they would say, "Hey, your other half. What if you fail all those? You get bad grades in those." They put me on the wait list, and I don't think I'm getting off, unfortunately. But I think a dream job would be UCLA, as not in just proximity to Hollywood or anything, but I know they specifically I think it was on the Electric Effect, they made one of the robots that was like an actor in that movie,
Holy
and
fuck.
specifically that proximity of a pretty decent engineering school with proximity to LA, that is the school I'd love to go to. Which also funnily enough, I believe I was at the Divinikey meetup, or at least in the server. I met someone who was also transferring, and well, assuming I did successfully transfer, he offered to be my roommate.
Holy
Well,
fuck, dude.
actually, so back to going through college and keyboard opportunities, I think keyboards has provided me with more opportunity in college than college has provided me all the opportunity in keyboards.
You've heard it from both of these fine gentlemen. Get into keyboards when you're young. Have your mom or dad buy you whatever you want in keyboards. It will only make you successful in your college career. No, no. Uh, Before I ask Gondo the same thing about dream job, I watched Once Upon a Time in Hollywood a couple of weeks ago because I hadn't watched that for many years, and I don't know if you both have watched that. Have you both watched that? No. Okay. I won't spoil it. I won't spoil it. but it talks about Hollywood and sets. When you're talking about sets, that is fucking cool. So you want to build part of the sets that they use, like the animatronics, if that's not like if you can't get into the Canon thing, like go down that route.
I think the two jobs are in similar areas of I would both love to be that would be my dream job as far as incorporating with some way of my engineering expertise and then also being inside film. That is definitely the dream job there.
Holy fuck. I hope you meet somebody, either like a person in Canon that can get you in there, or like someone in Hollywood that's also a keyboard enthusiast, and you're like, hey, I know about keyboards too. Because how many other people do you know? Like, if you find someone out in the wild that also likes keyboards, like it's a very rare hobby to be a part of. Yeah. I hope that happens, dude. I hope that happens. That would be fucking amazing.
That would.
What's your dream job, Gondo? After you defend your thesis and stuff. Keep researching.
Oh man, my dream job is one that I have to work little and I earn too much. That's the dream one. I mean, I've been working towards academia for a lot of time now. It's honestly what I've always wanted. I feel like I have a shot at it. Um, you know, I think that's the dream job. It's a very nice job. Being a professor is a very nice life. You have to deal with some crap, yes, but it's a very nice life. You know, I really like it. Um, I think it's possible. Let's hope. Let's touch base again in a couple years. Let's see what happens.
For math, like what professor in what field? Math or engineering?
So the thing is, I'm an electrical engineer, electronic, right? Specifically what we call power systems engineer, right? So I design, control, model, simulate electrical power systems like transmissions and that kind of thing. It's a huge area and it's a very nice one because of the integration that we're having with like renewable energy resources and that kind of thing. And I'm a very mathematical guy. I work more on the modeling simulation side. So that's the dream. To be honest, if I would describe it to you in my day to day, it would be much more close related to applied maths than what you would expect an engineer to do. But it's a damn nice life. I really like it. I really, really like it. So yeah, that would be the dream job. Let's hope it's feasible.
I will enroll in your classes if that happens.
No, you won't. You don't
Dude,
want that.
I got a D- in pre-calc.
Fuck.
No. And you know the thing is, what do they say? What is the famous guy Neil deGrasse Tyson? What he says? Math is the language of the universe. Science.
Yeah, for a physics guy, for an engineer, that's how it is, right? But math is a little bit more than that. It's much more of a pattern kind of thing than it is a language that describes things. Because engineers in physics, I was gonna say physicians, but physicists, they are much more into describing things using math. That's actually applied math, right? But when you go down to study mathematics, it's much more than that. It's pretty dope, honestly. It really gets out of my mind sometimes. It's a pretty nice thing, but it's too complicated. I wanted to get into mathematics, like hard mathematics, like research in mathematics. I have some stuff that I'm publishing, but I'm that guy that needs some motivation. I'm that guy that needs to pick something up and say, I made this, you know? So I couldn't be a mathematician, a pure one, at least.
I have one mini keyboard question and then a big keyboard question, and then if we have time, some fun topics. ChickenMan. So we will have Carl Anthony on in a few weeks. Actually, maybe not in a few weeks.
From Divinikey.
Yeah. I want to ask you first of all how the Divinikey meetup went, and second of all, if you met anybody cool. I'm not saying cool as in like super famous. It doesn't have to be someone fucking super famous. I'm sure maybe like if you met Broom there, because Broom is a friend
I
of mine.
did meet Broom there, yeah.
Yeah. How was Divinikey, man?
The Divinikey meet was actually very nice, very small meet. I think I definitely consider it like small to mid-size. It was definitely refreshing as far as if the atmosphere definitely felt more intimate. There was limited keyboards. I think there were some pretty notable people there. I think Gawk was there, if I remember correctly.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
But I think it was just at this point just another meet for me as far as seeing any new things. But I must say, I think the rate of the hobby has become there are it's not very often that I love to see a new thing that I'm amazed by. I'm no longer amazed by any of the jams or anything. So I did see some keyboard that had like a gasket, leaf spring. The whole thing was suspended or whatever. But I don't know. Meets are cool because you just get to meet new people.
Yeah.
Sometimes see a cool keyboard. But it was definitely not a bad meet at all. It was definitely good. It was definitely good. There were, I think, actually no. I think I've definitely been to meetups that I would rather not go again. But any
Yeah.
anytime there's meets, I'd love to go. Anytime in Southern California, I always make my way out there. If it's locally in Orange County, I make my way for any size. But then if it's LA or San Diego, I'll travel if it's like slightly bigger. But in terms of cool people to meet, this was a reoccurring person in my life, and sort of going back to meeting someone from the hobby who is like somewhat into Hollywood or whatever. I met someone named Cole. If and he's basically just he's a great
COAL?
no COAL.
The guy that takes like fucking base
Yes,
pictures?
he's this
Oh
guy who
fuck.
takes amazing pictures, and I consider him a mentor, and yeah, I consider him a mentor to me because he's actually taught me a lot of new things I've learned within high level. Like he's way up there. He's way up there. I don't think I can really say what he does, but he is a very high level photographer, and he has taught me a lot of cool things about. Yeah, and I met him there. I meet him a few times a year at least.
God damn. For the audience out there, if you sometimes go to r/custom keyboards, Cole is the person that posts fucking amazing pictures, like hilarious ones. There was one where he posted like there's a keyboard on a chair, and then like a date night kind of atmosphere, and he was like, I
That's
can't
the
remember what
K-pop
the
one.
caption was. Yeah,
That was the K-pop one.
yeah. That's so cool, man. Holy shit.
It's
Where
weird.
was the
It's like
yeah?
pictures that tell a story, isn't it? It's impressive. It's genuinely impressive.
He
As
definitely inspires me as far as how my own photography is going, and whenever I take pictures of keyboards, a lot of stuff I think in some ways taken from him.
what do you see from him in terms of photography? Because photography is one of your passions. Like holy shit, Cole does this in a specific way, similar to how Zamb is like, holy shit, Gondo PCBs are this specific way. Do you see like a Cole-ism that's always part of his like art or work or whatever?
I feel like a ton of times his photos always actually not always, but there's always some sort of theme to them. It's not just a photo taken for beautiful sakes, which is I think what his work is related to. But I think there's also a sense of I don't know how to explain. There's like a sense of play-doh-y to his photos. I believe it's a specific way he edits it or lights it, but it's like how like how recent at least cars. I think there's like a sort of like matte. It's like not matte. It's just like it feels car colors like the gray, that weird like blue gray and that like gray. There's like a Play-Doh-y look to them that almost feels like it was taken out of a render. But his work, I think, because of the way he creates it, a lot of times there is that sort of vibe as far as Play-Doh-y. And I think I can definitely recognize when a photo is taken by him.
Yeah, that's amazing. Where was the meetup again?
The
The
meetup
Divinikey meetup?
was in Costa Mesa, which is fairly close to me, so right between south of Los Angeles and north of San Diego.
Was it at a coffee shop or like a warehouse or?
I think it was a coffee shop. It was just like a little cozy space in a slightly more urban area,
Okay,
as urban
okay.
as Orange County gets.
Do you have keyboard stores in SoCal? I don't want to leak our DMs or anything, but you were saying how you met Broom many weeks ago. Like, oh yeah, I saw him at the store. Was it like a store?
If you actually could give us again address, phone number, that kind of thing, please do.
Make and model of your car.
Why
Oh,
would you
yeah,
think that you would dox anything and anyone just for saying their names? What's going on?
I had to be careful. I don't know. I don't want to fuck it up.
Yeah, people on the internet, they're insane.
I'm Alex.
Yeah, I get it.
And that's that. I'm Alex. I live pretty close to UCI meetups, so I can sometimes walk to them, sometimes not. But wait. Oh yeah, I did meet Broom at the store, because he goes to college near me, and I just saw him at a shopping plaza. Wait, yes, that's what happened.
Okay.
You saw him where?
Oh, at UCI, University Town Center.
A shopping closet?
It was a shopping plaza.
Plaza. I heard a closet. I was like, what's a shopping closet? Okay.
At the Sprouts?
At Sprouts? No,
Sprouts.
not.
I'm triangulating the location now, so I'm just joking.
I'll give you the pin.
No.
Right there.
That's awesome. Do you see a lot of keyboard community people out and about like that? Or is that rare?
I think it's definitely a rare thing for me.
Oh, okay.
I did see one person. I was at an anime expo who recognized me as ChickenMan.
What are we doing with our youth? My man is in anime and keyboards. What the actual? Come on, man. We gotta save those kids. Hubert, we gotta do something about this. God damn it. I'm so sorry for you, man. God damn it.
I'm definitely an iPad kid. Actually. I think I'm definitely on the side of the iPad kids.
Okay, an iPad kid. What's an iPad kid?
The idea of an iPad kid is someone who like grew up using an iPad, and because of watching YouTube, they have like terrible learning ability or like short attention spans, as far as they get really easily captured by short form media.
God damn, I hate
something
that.
like that.
I fucking hate that.
Particularly online
No, I'm genuinely pissed. Fuck that. I hate that. I hate that we are.
Go for it.
No, the thing is, people are. I mean, humanity was always stupid. Let's not forget that. There wasn't a time in human history where everyone was like fucking genius. But the matter of fact is that we're making kids dumber, right? Because kids, they have attention spans of fucking goldfishes because we can't bring them up. We just give them iPads, like Chicken said, like, yeah, there you go. Stop fucking crying. There's an iPad, And then through the iPad, kids learn about anime and keyboards. Like there's no worse scenario than that.
I think it was. I'm not sure as far as like when I got into anime, but I think keyboards was not part of it. It was just a natural content consumption as far as it was trendy at some point in time, and people in school would watch that. It's like
that's
just
exactly
when a new
what
movie
I mean.
comes out.
My gripe with that is that. I'm sorry.
No. As in like keyboard community, or like I think any online community is weird because when I was so young, I was talking to people triple, double my age.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen very, very, very young people in the keyboard community. That is not a thing, I guess.
Apparently Pudsey was like 14 when he was in the scene. That's what
he
Zamb said.
He clearly was 14. If you take a look at his comments.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, it's fucking edgy. But the thing is, what I mean is, I hate the fact that we are losing the capacity to process and hold information, right? Because I deal with those kids. So ChickenMan is pretty much one of my students, right? And I freaking hate the fact that I tell them things and they don't listen to things, and then they try to fix that lack of information and attention span with shorter and shorter information packets, right? And then we try to convey them the information and say, hey, if you want to learn something that's difficult and complex, it's going to take time. You can't learn some things through, then again, TikTok or ChatGPT or whatever.
Yeah.
But in a wider context, everyone is like that, isn't it? One of the things that really gets to me, like I get sore seeing that, is when I'm in a restaurant or I'm someplace, I don't know, and everyone's on their phones. That fucks me up so fucking bad. I'm like, could you please not, You know, I've had that issue with an ex-girlfriend at the time, and I was like, come on, you know, leave the phone for a little bit later, because it generally pisses me off. I'm like, come on. So but yeah, I think that is becoming a real problem, in that people, they are becoming more is there a word for when people are more prone to being influenced by other opinions? It's not influentiable. Huh?
Gullible. Pardon?
It's not gullible,
Weep?
because gullible is something that you can like I think naive.
Weeps. Oh, nice.
People are becoming more naive, in the sense that they can't criticize or process the information that's given to them, and that's really getting to me. Like, for instance, I was running this small GB. I'm gonna say that. Fuck this. I was running this small GB, and the idea of my GBs is that I do very small GBs, but the nice thing is that the fab handles the shipping. So when you order the PCB from me, the PCB never passes through me. It's just from the fab to you, and they do the drop shipping to end users. It's like 20 units runs. And then I give them the form, and I'm like, please give me your address, and then name, and then phone number, and then whatever. And they mix all of the fields up.
Okay. The audio listeners, you're missing out on Gondo's face right now.
That's
then
pretty
I have
bad.
you can't believe how common that is. Or I'm giving, like, so I spent fucking days with the Chinese distributor in the fab, and the fab goes, hey, we need the correct information for user ChickenMan, right? And then I'm like, yeah, that's the correct information. And they're like, I'm pretty sure the address is not fucking John. So I have to talk to the guy, and he gave like the wrong fields for your address. Sometimes they didn't get the fields anyways, they get the wrong information. So it fucking sucks. Or when I'm giving people support for PCBs, and I'm like, they're like, okay, so my PCB doesn't work in VIA. I'm like, maybe if you sideload the JSON. And they're like, how do I do this? And I'm like, you just go to this menu here, and then you select the file, and it should work. And they're like, is there a video? Is there a tutorial? And I'm like, motherfucker, go and do it. It's like 3 clicks away. Like, come on, use your fucking primate brain, hundreds of years of human evolution, and the fucker wants a video to do 3 clicks. If my ancestors, who were hunter-gatherers, they saw us today, they would go like, fuck it, guys, let's stop fucking, let's stop having children. This shit has gone, it didn't work. It didn't work, guys. It didn't work.
Yeah.
You know?
I always wonder, because every now and then, well, okay, it's not been recent, but every now and then I see people asking for help, like maybe in the Gion server, and then every now and then I see you help them, and I always wonder, does it ever get tiring, or like, does Gondo ever get just pissed at people for not understanding what he's trying?
No, it doesn't. Well, first of all, I'm being intentionally dense. Okay, I'm not this much of an asshole. Then again, I'm covering for Simon here, so I'm trying to be dense and an asshole. But I don't generally think that humanity shouldn't exist. No, I'm not that nihilistic. What I mean is, actually, even the simplest forms of information, they're difficult to go through and to come across, because people have such distaste for complexity, actually, that the simplest things don't go through. Giving support is awesome. I like talking to people. I like helping people, but I can only go so far, right? I've had in numerous times where I had to actually like video call people and go through their webcams.
Yes, I've seen that. I've seen your messages. Like, trying to set up a time to call with each other.
Yeah, no. So sometimes that's legit. Sometimes we're like, hey, it's not working, and then it's a driver problem. Those things are generally very difficult to solve. Yes, but sometimes it's the guy like, hey, where do I click? And I'm like, okay, so on the top of your screen, there's a gear icon, and they're like, I can't find it. It's not here. I'm like, dude, it's there. And then they send a screenshot, and it's there. And I'm like, can you see this? And I'm like, fuck. And I don't want to be that guy. Like, hey, you involution of human genes. No, I'm like, hey, just get a time. I'm gonna teach you to do that. So yeah, it drives me crazy. Or when people say stuff like, so there's the form, right? So people ordering GBs, and there's the form, and I'm very concise, right? So hey, it's gonna cost this much. It's gonna be delivered in a couple months. And it's red 1.6 millimeter f4. What's the first question that people ask me?
When is it? When is it? When are you arriving?
How much does it cost? When it's gonna ship? And like, just it's literally the first four. Yeah. So I want to give a special shout out to the biggest fucking loser in this earth. That's called Simon. So Simon, whenever I write my ICs, whenever I write my shit, Simon goes, "Oh, it's too much text." Fuck you, Simon. If you're spending $400, $300 on something, there should be a web page for that. It shouldn't be like, "Hey, I have this, buy it." No, $300 they're not gonna buy for that. I'm gonna tell how the fuck I designed it. Why do I think it's cool? And then again, how much it costs and what comes in the kit and that kind of shit. I think he actually like he disables the higher functions of his brain so that only the lizard parts of his brain are active when he's thinking about shit. So when you ask Simon for feedback, he's like, the feet are ugly. And I'm like, this is not a fucking OnlyFans porn star. You don't get a keyboard, like feet. No, that's not the thing. You take a look. Yeah, because that was his criticism. This criticism of my past project, like, hey, the feet are bad. I'm like, fuck you. If you like feet, go ahead. There's a plenty of pictures out there for you. What about the keyboard, motherfucker? Is the keyboard good? Yeah, the concept is nice. Fuck you, Simon. Fuck you, Simon. Legitimately, fuck you. Go read a book. Okay? Go educate yourself.
Oh, I'm crying. My face hurts because I'm smiling so much and I'm crying. This is the best episode ever.
Fucking shit.
Oh. Ah. Oh fuck.
Fucking shit.
I forgot my questions. What's your favorite animes, everybody? Speaking of animes. I can start. I don't know if I'm a weeb. Simon said because I'm Asian, I can't be a weeb, but I don't know about that. But Berserk, I love Berserk. It's very hard to explain to someone that like you either love it or you don't because it's so dark and like it takes a special person or specific person to enjoy that. But One Piece, man, I know it's super popular. I've never been able to like get all the way to the current, I don't know, arc or whatever the fuck, because I'm someone that wants to start from the beginning and I have to watch it all the way through. Like I can't go here and then take a pause or something like that. And it's if you do that with One Piece, you're fucked because there's like hundreds and hundreds of episodes. But I don't know. What are your guys' favorite animes?
One Piece is super popular. It's also super popular to make fun of it for being too long. I think my definitely favorite would be Tokyo Ghoul. It's like the only series that I've like watched the anime and then read the manga and then watched the anime. I usually don't do one or the other. I love it. It's great. I don't know, it's just my thing, I suppose. And then more recently, I've really liked Frieren. Of course, snubbed for Anime of the Year or whatnot. It was really refreshing and it was great. It was phenomenal. It's a great story.
Yeah. What is it about?
It's like your usual it's like usually the aftermath of a hero's party. Like you have your classic hero's party anime, defeat the demon lord that. But this is like about what takes place after, specifically from the perspective of an elf who lives so long that a lot of human things just don't make sense to her because of her different sense of time. And I think overall it's a very refreshing anime on a fairly like fresh idea, and it's executed phenomenally.
I think Gondo loves that anime too, right, Gondo?
I have no idea what that's about. I'm looking it up as we speak.
Well, what are your
have
favorite
to
animes?
look it up. Honestly, I'm not an anime guy. I've watched the, how can I say this, the famous one. So Death Note, Naruto, Code Geass, pretty dope. I don't know. They all seem too silly for me. The one that I love the most, the ones that I really, really, really like are Berserker and Evangelion. You know, Evangelion is a little bit of an it overdoes it a couple of the times. You know, so but the philosophy and the whole thing is good. Berserker is fucking amazing. You know, Berserker is awesome. So
I think there's
those are mine.
Go ahead, Chicken Man.
I think there is a problem of like if you like anime at all, you become suddenly an anime person. As far as like anime is somewhat treated as like a separate source of media consumption. It's just like I see a good anime, I watch it. I see a good TV show, I watch it. If I see a good movie, I watch it. Something along those lines. It's good. Like I'm at an expo. I wouldn't consider myself an anime person, but I'm there. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm there because usually I can get like a friend who gets me in, and it's just fun to see all the cool costumes that people create. And I think I don't know. I just like to see all the hobbyists, all the artists who make good things. Good creators.
Oh,
Creators
shit.
are good.
Yeah, like the people that go to all the Comic Cons and everything that create their own, like that. Some of that shit is out of this world, dude. That holy fuck.
Yeah.
As keyboard enthusiasts, we appreciate that because of the how much thought and how much effort goes into those costumes. That's
I've saw this. I had this friend of mine that he cosplays as a space marine. So I'm hugely into Warhammer 40K, the board game, right? The recently I've started getting into the lore, so the books. I haven't been able to play the games still, but yeah. And I have this this friend that started cosplaying as a space marine, and it's pretty nice. It's pretty dope.
what does he do? Or like, does he make the armor, the whole thing?
So he makes a base kind of armor with 3D printed parts, and then all of the like external decorations he makes them of I guess in English you would call it styrofoam and some plastic pieces and that kind of thing. So he can model them, you know. Of course, with those kinds of things, you can go crazy, man. They go to great lengths to make those things really, really, really realistic. I've seen him do his thing, and I mean, he's very much artistic. Let's put it that way. He's insanely good at what he does. Um, but it's pretty dope and honestly, any media in general. I have a huge difficulty of consuming because I just can't sit down and watch it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
It's very difficult for me to do that, to get like pieces of my day sporadically and watch things. You know, so for instance, all of the animes that I've watched, almost all of them were doing like a trip or vacation time, you know, stuff like that. Um, um, was it? I think it was Death Note that I've watched when I went to Singapore. So last year I went to Singapore in a conference, and then the flight is like 20 something hours, 18 hours from Singapore to Brazil. So I just brought the whole thing and I've watched it. And it was pretty nice. So yeah, I do those kind of things that I just can't do them. Everyone recommends me shows and animes and media in general. It's not that I don't like them. They're nice. I just can't stay at the same place and watch it. I just have to do something while I'm at it, you know?
Yeah. What's your favorite hentai?
Oh man.
I don't even know if they're like actual series is series.
I mean, fuck that. Let me give you a response. I'm searching for something. Hold on. Best hentai
Something that will
2025.
definitely fly. Oh, will not fly well with our sponsors, Chicken Man.
Okay, let's see. Best hentai of 2025 that you can't miss.
Here we go.
Okay, so there's this one. Okay, first one is one that has MILFs. It's called YOU GONDO. That's one. Perfect.
Right,
Love it.
let me add that to the. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead. What's the
Absolutely.
next one?
Only this one's had MILFs.
That's the. I was talking with Gondo before you came back, Chicken Man. Of embarrassing things that happened. When I was a young lad, with dial-up internet, Walmart Connect, I printed hentai. Yep. To bring to my room to do my business, and I accidentally left some of the colored printouts in the printer. And when my parents came home, It was not a pretty sight. Nope.
Such
It was
escalation.
I fucked up. I fucked up terribly. Yeah, let's. I guess we'll leave it there. What were some costumes that you saw that were really cool at the cons that you went to?
Honestly,
You can
don't
remember it.
have photos. Wait, hold on. Actually, like, this was a really last minute thing since I got like tickets at 2 a.m. in the like the last day of the
Wow.
con. I got tickets at 2 a.m. I was driving to some place, and then there was a lot of Hatsune Mikus. There was one can I this is Alistair from like I think the Amazon Prime
Holy
TV
fuck.
series. It was a
Oh
very
shit!
impressive cosplay. And of course there's also like, chicken.
Nice, perfect. Yeah, awesome.
But there's a lot of them. I think a lot of just oh wait, I think I suppose another one. Just a lot of cool things. I really like how they when you mentioned like the styrofoam and all that. It's very impressive. Especially Space Marine too. Like Space Marine, that's a kind of that's a lot of stuff to make. And
It is. It
I
is.
recently started playing Space Marine 2. I'm like partway into that, and I've been loving it. I don't know. Space Marine lore looks really cool. It sounds really cool. It's all really cool.
I don't know. It's so difficult to get into because there's so much content. Like I try and watch every now and then, especially the Space Marine games or like the Amazon Prime, or not Prime, the Amazon secret level, the secret level with Titus when he was younger.
Yep.
That was fucking amazing.
It
Yeah,
was.
Warhammer, man.
It was. You guys should really get into the lore, man. The books, fuck, the books are amazing. There's this one called The Infinite and the Divine, which is by far the best one. Fuck, it's so amazing. The books are awesome. The tabletop game, it's really really amazing. The problem is that having access to that, at least where I am, is very difficult. Um, but if you had the opportunity of seeing a game, um, of going to a shop, it's 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 very nice. It's insanely detailed and nice, and it's really really nice. Myself, I don't have the money. If you guys think keyboards are expensive, go fucking see Warhammer, man. It's so fucking expensive. Um, but I've seen a friend. It's not a friend. It's like a colleague. Paint the miniatures. It's
Oh,
it's very nice. It's insanely nice. I really recommend you guys take a look at that. But yeah, the lore is awesome. If you guys can check the lore, you will really like that. I especially recommend the books. There's the series of books called the Black Library. I guess it's the name of the series. Amazing. It's really nice. It's really nice. There are some shit books, but most of them are very good. If you guys can watch that.
we have common ground, like right? We lube the switches. People lube miniatures.
I don't lube switches.
Not lube miniatures.
Yeah, I mean, if you lube your miniatures, I don't know, man. You do you, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what's going on down there, but it's I don't know. To each their own. It's just your thing.
Yeah.
But
Oh.
I mean, I lost my train of thought here. But yeah, you absolutely watch that. The games are nice. Oh, there's also shows. So Warhammer has there's this show on the Blood Angels chapter. I forgot that. Let me search for that, which is amazing.
Everything Gondo is saying, I'm typing in a DM, so I remember.
Okay, so there's this show called Angels of Death.
Yeah.
Absolutely watch that. This is golden. And there's this one, Hammer and Bolter, which is animated. And like every episode is a isolated story in the Warhammer universe. Fucking amazing. Fucking amazing.
Is it I learned about dreadnoughts the other night and I cried.
It's
Did
creme,
you
man.
know?
It's creme.
They're fucking amazing, man.
Can you
by the way,
imagine? Go ahead.
If you guys like that kind of thing, that kind of, how can I say this, space horror, there's this movie called Event Horizon that's regarded as like a prequel to Warhammer.
Yeah.
It's like a very very heavy horror movie, but it's like a cult classic, and it's an amazing horror movie. If you guys want that, Event Horizon. it's an insanely good movie. But you should watch it when you're in a good day. Because if you're not in a good day and you watch it, you're not gonna sleep. Yeah, it's heavy. It's heavy. Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. What?
Absolutely do. It's an amazing. It's a really, really, really good movie. I can't stress that enough. But then again, it's a horror movie, like a very heavy
Yeah.
horror movie. So either watch it during the daytime. I'm not fucking kidding. I'm 31 years old. I'm a grown ass man. I was sweating my ass off when I watched it. It was like 2 a.m. I was like, fuck.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's horrible. And you should absolutely do, because it's a really nice movie. It's not like in the same universe, but the Warhammer fans regard it as like a prequel of when humanity discovered warp travel. That's how they regard it, and it's pretty nice. It's pretty dope. You guys should absolutely watch that. Um, my drug of choice is actually music. That's my thing. So actually, my guitar is on the shop. I have my guitar in the shop, but I have this one that just came in. I can show you guys later. And I'm learning, death metal. That's what I'm learning these days.
Let's make a movie. Let's make a movie and record an album.
And record an album for keyboards, death metal. Yeah.
ChickenMan's got us. Got like the photo, like
the movie part.
oh my God. Yeah, the movie. Well, I think something that's super fucking cool is we're all nerds at heart, right? And we all have these fucking awesome communities. Like the Warhammer community, I'm sure is fantastic. I obviously, there may be some bad apples here and there, like everything, but game shops they used to be a huge thing here. Even GameStop, they used to host like Magic the Gathering things, Yu-Gi-Oh, Warhammer things, friends getting together to play D&D, shit like that. Like it's all about the community. It's fun to do things solo, and if that's your style, if that's your jam, that's totally fine. But once you get that community aspect in it, if you're interested in it, so many hobbies, they're just so fucking awesome. Like the community aspect of it, and it brings to the good keyboard friends, our little good keyboard friends of the week segment. Did I tell you about that, Chicken Man?
Yes, you did.
Okay.
I did think of my homework.
Okay, I am so sorry because sometimes I tell our guests to think of somebody or some people to nominate, and sometimes I don't. So I'm fucking glad I remembered. My my brain is sometimes not working, but Gondo, I don't know if you have a good keyboard friend nomination that you want to nominate. If not, I'll go with mine.
Honestly,
But
I was gonna say Simon. Simon
for
was
it.
so Simon. I was yesterday. I was thinking of this. I was watching the latest Simon stream, and Simon was actually an inspiration for the streaming. I was like, hey, if this guy can stream, he's so, because you're gonna give it to him. He's very authentic, isn't it? He's like, I don't give a fuck about what you think. These are my opinions. He's an asshole. Yeah, he has shit opinions, and he thinks he knows more than he actually does. But he's authentic. He knows it. And I really like the guy. I really like him. I really wish that I could one day see him in person. That would be fucking dope. It's a little bit. It's a little bit more feasible now that he's in, Freedom Land. I wasn't going to fucking Dubai to see him. No, fuck that. I don't like him that much. But yeah. But now maybe, yeah, maybe that's feasible. I'm planning to maybe go to some meetup or something to meet him. But I can't nominate Simon, can I? Because he's already in the podcast. One person that I am going to nominate is Gion. And also I wouldn't call them employees. I think they're like his employees. I don't know if they're his employees or his like mods. It sure does look like they are his employees at his business. I mainly deal with Pooh. But they're awesome, and if you can bring if you can bring one of them here.
Yes,
So I deal with Tissue, Jane, and Pooh. They are amazing. If you can get any of them here, that would be awesome. I have learned, actually, they're so fucking humble. I was talking to Tissue, and someone wanted like a 13 key rollover keyboard.
Oh.
And they were complaining, and like, and I made I made a shit joke about who the fuck wants 13 key rollovers And then with all the fucking patience in the world, Chishu says, well, that's so they can play competitive Osu. And he sends this video of this guy fucking mashing the keys. They're like, okay, I'm sorry, I'm an asshole. Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you can get
Oh,
any of them here, I don't know if Gion is, up to being on streams. I've never seen Gion do any interviews, has he? He has his channel, he
no.
does some stuff, but I've never seen him do this kind of thing.
I will lean on you and all the other co-hosts for getting those people on, for getting QMK via people on. Like,
Try
we will
that.
use
QMK
these.
via
Yeah.
guys. Absolutely do that. And if
Yeah.
you can get someone from Gion Works, they're absolutely amazing and they helped me so much during my career. I tried reaching out to two of the guys that I mentioned last time. They didn't reply. Mr. Keebs. Uh, he's not around anymore, I guess. But yeah.
Fuck yeah. It's true. It's true. It's the same with Upas, kind of. You see sometimes people get a little rowdy in the Gion Discord, or say, their opinions quite forcefully, and then you always see, Pooh or somebody be very patient, be very kind, and
I genuinely envy that. I'm like, I should be more like that person, you know? Because then again, I can become very effusive and that kind of thing. I've probably said some bad shit during the stream, but anyways. And I wish I was like them. I wish I had that patience. You know, like I don't know. I envy that. Honestly, I envy that how graceful they are with dealing with people because I don't have that ability. No, no, sir, I don't.
well, thank you, Simon, Gion, Pooh, Tissue, the whole Gion Works team. Thank you for being good keyboard friends, and
Thank you, Simon. You're still dumb, and I wish you read more.
with that, we'll pass it on to Chicken Man for his nominations.
Please do.
I originally thought of one person, but then it really is more of a collective group as far as the reasons why. So I would like to nominate Quub. He designed the EHKB, he designed the Bloop 65, and he was one of the first people I ever met in the hobby, and he was always 100% open to sharing his knowledge, and without any judgment, he'd help me in my designs of CL, my kitting. At some point, he helped make a PCB, something like that, a lot of rendering, and like it was always something where he knew just about everything. And I know he's somewhere now making way too much filthy money. He must be filthy rich now, but he is definitely like the friend who we've done Secret Santas. He's definitely helped me get in the hobby, and I know with other people, he is also very supportive of sharing his prototypes, sharing how his designs work. And I think even though I don't think he is an engineer, he was very technical and I think meticulous in a way that I admired and strive to be more like him. But I think if I have to nominate Quub, I'd also have to nominate other people within the Bobby. It's like a subsection of the Tabao gang because the Tabao gang really there was like 20 active members and a quarter of them turned out to be scammers or douchebags in some way. Like everyone exit scam. It was
Come to the
terrible,
fucking
but
hobby.
it's part of the hobby. But I have to nominate like let's see, Saab. I'd have to nominate nominate Yanel, Saab, Miss Waffle, Bobby, Clicky for all helping me sort of through that time because we were all basically still like one group as far as for the first people I met in the hobby. And I think that'd be my nomination.
Thank you. I will ask you to spell all those names out to me in the Discord DM because I can't fucking spell worth shit. But thank you to all those people for being good keyboard friends, and
Thank you,
thank you,
guys.
Chicken Man. Like, I'll thank you, Gondo, as well afterwards. But uh, I've always wanted to talk to you more than our usual every now and then interactions, just because I love your designs. I thought you were a fucking awesome person, and this just goes to show that I was right for both. Like, I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to hang out with us, and the invitation is always there. If you ever want to come back again for more episodes, we can talk about anything you want, keyboards, not keyboards, and uh, I want to ask you. I want to give you a platform or a couple minutes to go over anything that you're working on right now. Is there a project or two that's coming out in the near future that you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
Um, I don't think I actually have any specific projects in mind. Although for those who are in LA or actually in the US and start into film photography, I bulk roll film and I would love to share with the hobby as far as I live near Hollywood and I'm able to access through DPs, I would take their extra minutes of film left over from whatever shoot they're doing, and I'll roll it up into photographic rolls and get cheaper, more accessible film. Because at this point, like, film photography is so expensive. Some people are paying $20-$30 per roll, which is like almost $1 per picture,
Yeah.
which is absurd. So
Yeah.
I would like to sort of share that out. If anyone wanted to reach out, I have like, I even went up yesterday. I have like hundreds of these rolls of, I'd say, pretty cheap photographic film. And there's actually did one thing in sort of Keyboard Friends. Now that through our conversation, I kind of realized Cole has been, as I mentioned before, an excellent mentor to me. Would you be able to sort of pull up my Instagram? I still take photographs, and there is one recent very project. It's alex.cooked, which is, let me type that in chat. But yeah, I uploaded a set today, and I'd say Cole heavily inspired me into doing more keyboard photography. And today I uploaded set, and just, I don't want to show it off. I really was pretty cool with it.
Holy fuck, dude! Let me show this Gondo. I'll put it in the. These are all. Holy fuck! Okay, I'm someone that doesn't know shit about like photos or anything, but these pictures are incredible. Oh, let me hit follow. What's the
So the subject is
most recent
it's
one?
the April Fool's bongo that Hello Caps released. It's the Build a Bongo, I think it's called. And I looked at it, I was like, hey, it looks like you could perform surgery on that thing. So I did a little shoot for it. And I'd say I think Cole's whatever, all his cool photography expertise has like, helped me.
Nice.
That's the coolest fucking thing. Who was
That
is this
very
Cole?
nice.
This is not Cole. This is just a friend of mine. But I'd say Cole, his style of photography somehow definitely influences how I take photographs.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised, right? Because you talk about how you love photography and you've done a lot, but this is fucking insane, dude.
It's pretty good.
Ah, there it is. Oh man, that's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, we will share all of your links in all the video descriptions and everything. This is amazing. I want to thank you, Gondo, for being on as a guest co-host. So we're gonna do this thing because we are our own bosses, so we can do whatever the fuck we want. Uh, if we want to,
You're playing a dangerous game here. You're playing a very dangerous game. You be careful of what you're gonna say now for next words.
Gondo is a co-host whenever he wants to, a guest co-host. I don't
Okay,
know what
that's
I don't
fine.
care. Yeah, I don't care. I don't care what you call him. We'll have some people that have been guests before hop on these episodes with other guests and assume the role of a co-host, asking questions and inserting comments, things like that. Just because I'm a fucking idiot, I don't know anything when it comes to PCBs. If we have a PCB guest or someone that Gondo wants to talk to,
I mean, me
we'll have
neither.
Gondo on. No, but yeah. Thank you, Gondo, for doing this. I know you're super fucking busy. I hope you're doing this again for many more episodes to come. We have 2 episodes scheduled. One talking about scams, and the other about exercise with AKB James. But yeah, thank you, Gondo, for doing this, taking 2 hours out of your night to hang out with us. It's fucking amazing.
No problem. I overdid it, didn't I? I'm sorry. I overdid it. Yes, I did. Um,
I was scared. I didn't know what. I was like, oh, what am I gonna...
I overdid it. Yes, I did. But yeah, I'll be here whenever you guys need me. We just have to deal with the different time fuse, right?
Yeah.
But I really want to thank ChickenMan for being here, man, because it's dope to see that such an talented person is leaning towards keyboards. I wish you kept with us, man. I wish you keep designing stuff, because that's the kind of stuff that we need. We need people that first have the guts to do things that are after all. Because let's face it, the hobby today has been growing towards a more marketable place. Let's use those words. And that's fine. That's okay. There's a keyboard for everyone. Yes, but I'm tired of wireless rectangles with screens. We need people that do stuff because they think it's cool, and I generally think you're one of those, and we need people like you. So if you're not, continue doing stuff. I know it gets difficult because sometimes the actual state of the hobby is that there's not enough space for projects like that. There used to be much more. Actually, most of my successful projects, they were passion projects. Ones that was like, hey, this is awesome. I wish people had that. But go on doing them, and honestly, go on doing them. I hope that you find more joy doing those because you're generally kicking ass.
I suppose I would like to thank both the two of you for having me on. It's definitely been a pleasure, and it's been sort of nice. I think this is a lot closer to the keyboard community than I've been sort of in a while. I'm just floating around doing whatever I want to do. But thank you. It's like bringing back, I don't know, memories and nostalgia or joy for the keyboard community. And I really like to thank you, the two on. And this is very great. I love doing all this. I love the keyboard podcast that's going on. And I think I've listened through some parts of the old ones. I see there's a lot of old faces that I think I haven't seen in a while. And I'd be like, hey, that's pretty cool. That is very cool. And indeed, this is all a very nice affair that they all are having.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome, man. And if you need PCBs, you know how to find me. Fucker,
man.
doing a lot of keyboards and no PCBs. Like, what's that about?
There's a wet dream of mine, and this is not sus at all.
Be very careful with what you're gonna say next.
I reached out to you, Gondo, about this, and I talked about that. After this, we can end it. But real quick, I reached out to Gondo about this, about doing a design like initiative for the for. I reached out to ChickenMan too. My friend Spooky had this idea of having like a design-a-thon, like a games done quick type of thing, whether it be keycaps or keyboards. It would be so fucking awesome to have all these good keyboard friends come together and make something cool. For charity, for just in general. Imagine a ChickenMan / Gondo creation. Like, holy fuck, dude. I don't care if you guys even make money. As long as you're not going horribly into debt or anything. Like, all the good keyboard friends getting together, collabing, making something fun, just for the hell of it, just to have fun. That's my wet dream.
Let's hope, man. Let's hope. I'm always open to those kinds of projects. Even going as far as waiving or lowering fees for that kind of thing. Because at the end of the day, then again, I generally think that we need to keep those guys on. So it's genuine. I know that I kid a lot. Then again, I'm trying to be some sort of character that I'm not here. So if you ever feel the need or think that I can help, absolutely reach out, man. I'm here. I wouldn't say that I'm 24/7. Then again, I try to be a little bit reserved when it comes to internet. I'm not that kind of guy that keeps on Discord all of the time. But I'll answer ASAP. Just send me a DM and I'll see what I can do.
Can you call me 2026?
Simon said it would be fucking awesome to have it as a part of a meetup, to have like an in-person aspect of it. So we'll brainstorm Braunstrom. We'll brainstorm it all. But brainstorm, god damn it. Brainstorm.
Oh shit.
But
yeah, that's
on behalf of me, Gondo, Simon, Tangus, James, thank you, ChickenMan. Thank you to all of you watching, and see you next time. Goodbye.
Stay awesome.